When I set out to save Halric, I think Gabu was always at the back of my mind, and having proved that the light corrupted are not lost, I am convinced that the same must be true of the tempered. Similar to those corrupted by the Sin Eaters, the ether of Gabu's soul has been rendered stagnant. And though the root cause is different, perhaps the solution is the same. It is by no means an unreasonable hypothesis, Alizé, and it warrants full investigation. If there's even a chance we can save Gabu, we have to try. But however much I'd like to race over to Limsa and set to work, there's no room for recklessness, not when a child's life is at stake. And I'm sure Bekalug would remind us, we still know little and less about the soul. Any number of things could go wrong if we don't exercise due caution. And so, before attempting anything, we should learn all we possibly can about tempering. There's just one problem. Research into the condition has long since ground to a halt, but the combined work of many scholars involved doesn't exactly amount to a wealth of knowledge. Not of the modern scholars, perhaps, but what of their ancient counterparts? I know the Elegans took a more than passing interest in the subject. And if what we seek is to be found anywhere, it would surely be at the Etherochemical Research Facility. Azizla? But where they experimented on primals and their worshippers? Yes. Good thinking. I've never actually been there myself, but I did read the reports on Azizla, which means we'll be needing an airship. An airship, you say? Meet me at the northern bank of Silver Tear Lake. I've got a little surprise for you. Oh, and come prepared to travel. Ooh. What are they doing over there? What the fuck are they doing over there? Like real. Over here. Oh my, look at this. This you? I give you the Bonanza. That sounds a very old airship. Oh. Built her as a company project with help from our friends at the Rising Stones and named her for luck and prosperity, Bonanza. Tower, this is amazing. We're able to fly just about anywhere we want. Our comments were impressive enough, but to build an entire airship, I see the annals did not exaggerate the many talents of the Scion's fabled coin keeper. Hehe, I'd also introduced myself as your pilot, except the training didn't go quite as well as I'd hoped, but that's alright, because we've hired this capable fellow here instead. Wow. The Bonanza is equipped with a full complement of mana cutters. By the way, feel free to use them to get around Azizla. But enough talk, it's time to fly. All aboard? God damn. What can't the tower do? Remember when she tried to take up being a summoner? Or something. Which one was it? Summoner or Conjure? Tried to do one of those. Honestly, Sid would be jealous of the way that airship flies. Tatara has outdone herself. Anyway, here we are, on Ozzy's Law, and Alphino's report did not do the scale of this place justice. Oh. This appears to be Helix, which means we stand in the Alpha Quadrant. To the east lies the Beta Quadrant, and... Yes, I believe I have my bearings. Though this is my first time on Ozzy's Law, I do have some familiarity with the place thanks to the records in the Crystal Tower. Unless I am mistaken, this path leads to an aetheryte, beyond which there will be an information terminal. I suggest we begin our search there. But yeah, I'm sure Graha could probably open stuff that we couldn't if it needs the blood of an alien. And here is the terminal. A moment while I search the archives for references to tempering. Ah, there we are. Iconic corruption and overview. That sounds promising. Indeed, let us see what this report has to say. Confound it, the contents appear to have been deleted. What? No, isn't there something you can do? Not from here, I'm afraid, but it may be that another copy of the reports exists elsewhere. The question is where to look. It says here the report was written by someone named Owen. It is likely that he kept a copy. I would say it is a distinct possibility. Assuming he was a researcher here, he will have had quarters at the Habisphere. On the Habisphere. We can ascertain the details at Habisphere Control. Let us return to the Bonanza and avail ourselves of the Mana Cutters. We will need them to reach our destination. I forgot, you already have a suitable means of transport, don't you? No need to waste time accompanying us back to the ship then. We'll see you at the Habisphere. Yeah, I got a motorcycle. If the late Owen did indeed have a chamber here, the node will be able to tell us its number. There, from what I recall of the layout, it should be somewhere in the vicinity of... Warning, an evacuation order is presently in effect. Entry to the Hemisphere is not permitted at this time. Foiled again. In all likelihood, the order would have been imposed during the 4th Umbral Calamity, and I doubt it will be lifted in the near future. Energy level critical. Returning to base for recharging. But surely there must be some other way to gain access? Force, for example? Every resort to that, I have an idea. Were we to send a surge of energy through yonder control mechanism, it should prompt the system to restart, releasing the locks. As for a suitable energy source, a concentrated lightning shard might suffice. Happily, I seem to recall that they are known to form at points of stagnant ether throughout the continent. You seem to recall? Are you honestly telling me that was in the records too? Haha, I am. A report sent to the capital mentioned that lightning aspect of the ether was prone to pooling on the continent, resulting in surges that interfered with equipment. A minor detail I grant you, but in my role of caretaker of the Crystal Tower, there was no such thing as too much elegant knowledge. Besides, my studies helped me to feel connected to the source, to home. I must have explored this facility 1,000 times in my mind, but to finally stand here with the two of you is more exhilarating than I can well express. Now then, the lightning shard, if I may, I suggest we split up and search the Beta Quadrant. Oh, but be aware of Sprite, they are wont to manifest where the ether is stagnant. I just show it off, which I actually think we should make a contest of this. The first to return here with a shard wins. What do you say? Very well. It will be my honor to come third. He's already saying he's coming third. There you go. Bravo! That was quite a show, adventurer. Why, the spectacle proved so enthralling that all thoughts of the prize slipped my mind. I appear to have forfeited our little race. Congratulations, the lightning shard is yours. What, no dramatic entrance? You've changed. You remember that? In my defense, I was caught up in a moment. It isn't every day you meet an honest-to-God hero, after all. Well, the contest continues, so you had better hurry back. But one last thing. Thank you, Saris, for bringing me here. It appears Alice had no luck, so victory is yours. Congratulations, now then. May I have the shard? There you go. What is it that makes you so much better at finding things? What do you have that I don't? That is a question I too have asked myself on numerous occasions. I suspect we could both learn a great deal from Saris, and not only about the secrets of adventuring. But come, we should attend to our mission. Excellent. The system responded exactly as intended. We now have access to the hemisphere. Only one obstacle remains, the security systems within. Should they be triggered, they could make life rather difficult for us. In light of which, pray leave the rest to me. If I am right, my royal blood should allow me to venture in unmolested. Assuming this place works like the Crystal Tower, yes, but if it doesn't, you'll be on your own. I want you to promise us that you'll get out of the first sign of trouble. I promise. Wish me luck. Well, nothing for it but to sit tight. I'm sure this Owen fellow was very learned, but iconic corruption in overview sounds like a studium thesis. We all had to write one. Lest you wonder, mine was about the combat complications of ether. Nothing of not practical. Alpha Nose was more philosophical, of course. Political, dare I say it. He chose to write a lengthy discourse on our nation's duty to the world. Controversial subject, to say the least. He asserted that Charlene's knowledge should rightly be used to protect all life on the star. Direct opposition to the country's cherished policy of non-intervention. Being a leading member of the forum, our father was not happy. At the time, of course, Alphona was utterly convinced of his views and would cheerfully argue to the death with anyone who saw things differently. Which, I mean, the roads were long. To be fair to him, though, he's since learned to be a little more open-minded, but deep down he still holds fast to that one belief. I admire him for it. I should have liked to meet the young Alphino. For what it's worth, my thesis concerned the elegant civilization as depicted in folklore. Oh, you're back. I didn't know you attended the studium. I didn't. A thesis was required to earn my Archon's mark. My peers at the Students of Baldesion convinced me to write one with the promise of unfettered access to forbidden tomes. Though I considered it no more than a means to an end at the time, I will admit it was gratifying to have my efforts acknowledged. Good gods, an Archon's thesis. I shudder to imagine the work involved. But enough about that. Is this the fruit of your foray? Yes, Owen's archive node. It was waiting for me in this chamber. If a copy of his report still survives, it would be stored in this device. Shall we find out? Initializing, scanning for registered user. User not found. To proceed as a guest, please complete biometric authentication. Up to you, Grah. Verifying. Authentication complete. Guest identified as member of the royal family. I am at your most humble services, your highness. It never ceases to amuse me. It is but a pity the effect will not last forever. Doga Une said as much when they granted me this gift, but until such time as it fades, I shall use it gratefully. Search archive for iconic corruption. Searching. One item found. Iconic corruption in overview. The report is locked by the author. Please state password. Password. God damn it. Oh, go on then, your highness. Tell the nice know the password. Right, let's see. Glory be to Allah. Beep, beep, beep. Hey, what you guessed? Long live Emperor Zande. Password incorrect. Please try again. And found it. Come now, passwords are invariably short and simple. For instance. Password. Swear to God. If it's fucking just password. Notice that the password could be something so inane would be laughable. We're not dangerously stupid. Furthermore, your conduct in the presence of his highness is grossly inappropriate. Know your place, handmaiden. What did that thing just call me? Wild Rose. No, that. Courage. Password incorrect. Again, be warned that any further inappropriate behavior in the presence of His Highness will not be tolerated. Alright, that's it. I say we dismantle and manually extract what we need. Well, now, let's not be too hasty. A single misstep and we risk losing the report altogether. I believe this may be a task for Sid and his colleagues. If anyone can coax Machina into cooperating, it's them. She really thought the password would be password. Come, let us bear the note back into to the Rising Stones. God damn it. I should probably mention that I have yet to meet Sid since waking up. Rambrose did send word to the Ironworks, but appears our friend has been afield on urgent business. Nevertheless, I assure you my proposal to seek his help is no pretext. However much I might look forward to seeing him again, him and everyone. But come, let us be on our way. Hey, look at him, all but running. How sweet. It wouldn't do to keep him waiting, shall we? I like the note. Wonderful news, Ceres. Tataru contacted Sid on our behalf, and he is on his way here even as we speak. Oh, wait. I should very much like to hear what transpired at the Alliance Council. Would you be so kind, Kyle? As you know, the meeting was convened to discuss how best to respond to recent events in Garlemald. According to intelligence from our Doman allies, the War of Succession rages on and the Empire remains without a leader. Amidst the chaos, the Imperial legions in the provinces have begun to move independently of the motherland. Of greatest concern to us is the Third, a legion aligned with Lord Nerva. It appears they have received substantial financial backing from House Brutus. Brutus, aren't they the ones who took in Yotsuyu and Asahi? This bodes well. Zenos' movements, meanwhile, remain shrouded in mystery. We're hoping that Thinker and Urianger will be able to shed some light on his activities when they return. Until such time as they do, the Allied leaders feel it would be unwise to interfere in the conflict. And so, thanks in part to the Imperial withdrawal from Gimlet, they have decided to turn their attention to the primal problem once more. Working with friendly factions among the Beast Tribes, they hope to reopen dialogue and explore new avenues for peace. Given the timing, I suspect they wish to put their respective houses in order ahead of a decisive clash with the Empire. Whatever their intent, this is not a problem easily solved. The Lamintons in particular struggle in their efforts, and Alphino and Yashtola have been called upon to aid them. So long as we are dealing with the temperate, I'm afraid no amount of dialogue will avail us. But if we can develop a treatment for tempering, then anything is possible. Which is why we must succeed. And on that cheery note, why not make yourselves comfortable in Don's respite? I shall sit in as soon as he arrives. Well, 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 Sid, hello. Sid. Forgive us for not coming to see you sooner, my friend. As we may have heard, we had our hands full. In our defense, you are up rather early. I was under the impression you'll be slumbering a while longer. I would have been had you not fulfilled your promise. Huh. I still struggle with that idea. From where I stand, the secrets of traversing time and space seem exactly as unfathomable as they ever did. But if an alternate version of myself had already laid them bare, I dare say that frees me up to concentrate on other endeavors. Speaking of which, you wanted my help with something? What is it? We got a node here that needs getting into. Well, well, a treatment for tempering. And for the next step, you need to find the password to this Elegans report. Just so, with nary a clue to guide us. We could be here forever and still not guess correctly. Thus, we turn to you. Well, I'd love to say that we could help you, so I will. Once suitably configured, a Magic Tech terminal should make short work of identifying the password. I knew I could rely on you, no? Anticipating that it might be of use, I took the liberty of borrowing a tombstone from Rambros. It contains an elegant dictionary. Good thinking. I'll transfer the information to a terminal and set it to work right away. Ah, looks like it's finished. Let's see. Freedom. The password is freedom. Ah, short and simple, just as I said. Would you kind of do the honors, Your Highness? I would, my lady. Note. Open the report entitled Iconic Corruption and Overview. Password, freedom. Password accepted. Loop. Opening report. Owen? This report seeks to provide an overview of the mechanism by which icons corrupt and bind men to their will. The phenomenon we call corruption refers to the alteration of the ether of the soul. That ether ordinarily exists in equilibrium, no one element being more prominent than another. But when a subject is exposed to the ether of an icon, this changes. Their soul taking on the properties of the entity in question. By way of an example, exposure to the ether of the fiend Sephiroth would cause a subject's ether to become aligned with the element of earth. As a consequence, the subject would attain heightened affinity with the earth-aspected magics, as well as a preternatural levels of endurance. Repeated exposure would further enhance these traits, ultimately altering the subject's very flesh. The changes undergone by the subject are not solely attributable to elemental alignment, however. Further testing has determined that the subject's soul becomes umbrally charged or stagnant during the process. This stagnation of the soul has the effect of diluting the sense of self, rendering the subject vulnerable to the will of the icon, the thoughts of whom come to consume their entire existence. In this manner do the corrupted become worshippers of the icon, their prayers serving to further empower the entity. Having discerned the mechanism of iconic corruption, my colleagues and I set out to develop a material capable of shielding one from its effects. An endeavor in which we were successful, albeit at a great cost. In the course of testing, many of my assistants, good men and women all, fell victim to corruption, and in accordance with the protocol, they were summarily put to death. I subsequently submitted a proposal to investigate potential cures for corruption, but I was rejected, deemed non-essential by Lord Amon. Though I knew it would be fruitless, I protested the decision, and for my impertinence, I had been stripped of rank and title, and will shortly be expelled from this facility. In all likelihood, this report will be expunged from the archives. Nonetheless, I record it in the hope that one day someone will undertake to do that which I could not, and find a cure for the victims of iconic corruption. I'm recording. Not even the Alligans are able to find a cure. Or rather, we're not given the chance to do so. One cannot help but wonder what motivated Lord Amon's decision. More importantly, this confirms that stagnation of the soul is indeed the problem, and Angelo can remedy that. True, yet, were we simply to reanimate a tempered soul, I fear it would do naught to diminish the individual's fanatical faith. Indeed, it may well intensify it. No, we will somehow need to suppress the primal's hold over the subject at the same time, or risk them ever remaining its thrall. Wonder we could make them remember who they were. But of course, memory transference. The process has the effect of compartmentalizing memories, separating them into manageable bundles, if you will. By adapting the technique, it may be possible to achieve selective reanimation, that is, limit the effects to only those memories that existed prior to tempering. Through thus restoring the sense of self, we could theoretically drown out the incitements of false faith which had come to dominate the individual's thoughts. I see, the theory seems sound, and our experience treating the light corrupted would help us to identify suitable memories for reanimation. But are you confident you can adapt memory transference as required? I seem to recall your attempts to do so while trying to bring us home culminated in literal bloodletting. I did, you're right. Despite my best efforts, I could not recreate the mechanism, and I can see that the rather clumsy compromise I reached would not provide the basis for a cure. Perhaps it's better that we consider another approach. Your doubts are understandable, but this time I believe we have reason to be confident. You see, nodes such as this were built with the ability to simulate magics. Which leads me to believe that it may be capable of performing simulations of the transference technique. If so, we would be able to conduct years' worth of tests within the space of a few days. In theory, it'll be no different from how we identified the password. But it'll take more calculating power, a lot more. Honestly, couldn't say whether our equipment would be up to the task. Tell me, Sid, why do you suppose Owen locked his report behind a password? Keep it from prying eyes, of course. Why else? Wait, a password that could be guessed by anyone with leisure and a dictionary wouldn't keep it from a person minded to look. He wanted his report to be seen by those who strive for freedom. Unlike the members of a certain distinguished engineering collective, I believe their motto was freedom through technology or some such. Oh. You two, round up as many Magic terminals as you can find and bring them to the workshop. Right away, Chief. Things are about to get very busy. Lucky we have you to help, eh? Oh. Right, well, Garaha, Tia, and I configure the terminals. Want the rest of you to procure supplies. Namely, beryllium to fuel the terminals and ice shards to keep them cool. The more we have of both, the better. Leave the ice shards to me. I round up some adventurers and go on a gathering spree. In that case, I'll trust Sarah's and Alize with a ceruleum. Here's a promissory note for each of you. Take them to the Sky Steel Manufactory in Ishgar and the cerulean processing plant in Thanalan. People there will give you what you need. Yours is a well-known face in the Holy See, I believe. If it all seems to you, I'll head to Thanalan. Alright. Time to head back to Carthus. Hello, Toki. I think I'm really close to being caught up. Back. You stand in the sky steel manufacturer, eh? What does he require? Fire some ceruleum. Oh my god, what the fuck? So you were after ceruleum? In that case, please present a note to our engineer at the airship landing. Glad to be assisted. Yeah, here should be. That's what says you. You're on 5.4? Uh-huh. Is that the latest patch? Somebody shooting out fireworks or something. Ceruleum, you've come to the right man. A fair warning though, the price has shot up on account of the uncertainty with the Empire, so I hope you've got the coin. I've got a paper, is that enough? Now 5.55 is the most recent and last patch. Oh my. Got another patch then. Oh now, a promissory note from the Ironworks? Don't see many of these. Now that's a problem. It's as good as gold to me. Now that it's a problem, it's good as gold to me. Nothing new coming until Endwalker? Oh. Look. Anu. Right.
My friend! After the disappointment of not seeing you in Alamigo, what good fortune to chance upon you here of all places.
Quite the fortune indeed, Amber.
As you may have heard, the Allied nations are making a renewed effort to address the primal problem. To that end, have I invited the chieftain of the Vanu to Ishgard, that we might together plot a course. Since the war with the Empire appears to be nearing its conclusion, I would also like to call upon Estinian's lance. Alas, he is, as ever, a difficult man to find. I am informed he recently paid a visit to the Rising Stones. Should he happen to do so again, be sure to pass on my regards, won't you?
Don't worry, I'll be sure to pass on their words.
But tell me, what business brings you to our fair city this day?
Ceruleum?
A cure for tempering. You never cease to amaze me. Until now, our only hope has been prevention, our every failure irrevocable. But this would rewrite the rules of engagement. It could end the cycle of bloodshed.
What really surprised me was the fact that we also kept a little bit since this expansion. Also, I can guess that we were the 14th. Yeah, we were the 14th in the convocation. We were the one that weren't given a proper crystal. But yeah, fucking all three of the unsundered are dead. And now some what the fuck was his game? Daniel? Daniel? I forgot his fucking name. The one who took us to his body. He's the new one of the new big bads. I thought for sure the next expansion was when we would kill Elidibus. And Daniel, there you go. Yeah, I was thinking that he was gonna at least like escape or something. Like we would have to fight him, but he wouldn't like die. But it's still cool that he was he became the first warrior of light. It was really sick. In fact, the Asians are named after the espers from Tactics? Really? Oh. I don't think I ever played Tactics.
Very well. You shall have all the ceruleum we can provide, and an airship with which to transport it. In this matter, you may count on Ishgard's full support.
Also, it was cool seeing, like at the start of the second phase, that ancient one being Emmett. You could tell right away by when he snapped and when he walked away. His mannerisms are just too unique. Now we're trying to find a way to get the tempering. Only got 2 more dungeons to unlock and then expert type. Also, I forgot they removed the coin cap on the near raids. You upgrade to 530 as soon as you get 1 of each red coin. I do it all day. Oh boy. So you need 1 of each for each piece of gear, right? Oh, there's something on your mind? Yep, that's a lot.
Who would have thought ceruleum weighed so much?
Oh, it is fuel.
Serves me right for being stubborn, I suppose. I should have just done what you did and accepted help.
You're telling me you carried the thing over here?
Good work, you two. This is all we asked for and more. Quite a lot more now that I look at it. Lord Emmerich, eh? And entirely by chance. Ha! Some people have all the luck.
We have also succeeded in configuring the terminals, thanks in no small part to our able assistant.
Except we can only have 1 upgraded ring. If you want a second 530 ring, you gotta complete E9S for 530 ring drop. I was about to say, where the fuck is Nero?
Hero? Oh, you seem surprised to see me. Lest you misunderstand, I've no interest in such things as cures for tempering.
Got some sick ass shades.
But if you mean to achieve that which eluded even the storied Allagans, it seemed plain that you would require my expertise.
Eden 9, Sap.
And so it proved. Is that not right, Garland?
Okay. Sounds like a tough fight.
Ask Jessie. She was the one who hired you. All I know is you're an employee of the Ironworks now, so you'll bloody well earn your keep.
That wasn't the only reason I agreed to cooperate. I'm reliably informed that Garland and I are destined to unravel the secrets of travel not only across dimensions, but through time. Doubtless the lion's share of the credit lies with me. 9 parts to Garland's 1. And this research will be a stepping stone to that illustrious achievement.
Honestly, 9 is not that bad. You just gotta get a group with a good strat down.
Very well then. I'll do 1/10 of the work. Just the part that's beyond you.
Whatever you say, Garland.
Barely done fucking extreme stuff. Let alone, savage.
Right. If everyone's ready, let's begin.
That's a lot of ceruleum. Or is that the eye shards?
All appears to be in order. Now, we just have to wait for it to find us our magic. Why not take this opportunity to put your feet up? This may take a while.
Are y'all dozing off?
Damn it. It's overloading.
Think of Savage's dance, you just have to execute it?
Chief! She won't last much longer!
I feel like I would have to have an actual group, if not just know exactly what I'm doing. Even then, a bunch of different groups will have their own strats, right?
We'll have to shut it down.
Wait! We're close! So very close!
Oh.
Well, this is going swimmingly.
So work on your rotation, every bit of DPS matters. Savages have engaged in rage chambers, yeah. I gotta work on that.
Please!
I know my rotations are,
I beg you!
I just fucked them up.
There! I was able to memorize the magic before it faded. It still needs to be put to the proof, but I believe we have our cure.
He's able to just memorize it like that? Well, you probably had to memorize lots of stuff, fucking reading all the Allegan knowledge.
It's just as well. She'll never run again.
It's about getting it memorized to muscle memory and learning a rotation to that point takes like 8 hours. Oh.
The fault is mine. I'm sorry.
Don't be. It may fall short of dimension hopping, but a cure for tempering is not to be sniffed at.
There's nothing to it but just to practice rotations.
This, my friend, is a world-changing discovery. One we're proud to have had a hand in. A few Magitech terminals are a pittance to pay.
Thank you.
Well, we've done what we can. The rest is up to you.
Reviving the legacy. People see their rotation at first and they find it daunting, but once you have the button presses down to the point where you don't have to think about them, it gets stupid easy. I also heard that what's it called? That bard isn't as what's it called? Strict when it comes to rotations as opposed to other classes. Just because of how my music works, as long as I have them up. And I'm actually, you know, using my abilities in the right moments. Rebellious is like the most forgiving out of the classes. I theory, we cannot be certain until such time as we put it to proof, but I am quite confident. Yeah, since you're so reliant on procs, it means you get some wiggle room. Alright. Well, if we're to test it on someone, then I suggest Gabu. His symptoms are relatively mild. As long as he exercises due caution. Yes, as long as we exercise due caution, it will be fine. Without further ado then, let's make for Limsa. We've kept Gabu waiting long enough. Or something like ninjas do this now, because like bard and dancer are do this now if you can. I do want to try other classes at some point though. Probably not until I'm really comfortable with this class. At least in like higher level stuff. Well, this is a moment of truth. I'll have our host bring Gabu to us at once. You don't have to worry about damage types anymore. Used to be a bitch for boards. Damage types. Was that a thing?
Apologies for the wait.
What would I have to worry about if that was still in?
Gabu, have you been good?
Still no change, I'm afraid. He just stands there in silence until we move him.
It's all right now. We're going to help you get better.
Fancy meeting you here.
Hello.
Alphino Yushtola! I thought you were attending to primal matters.
We were, and came here for a meeting on the subject. Certain pirate factions did not deign to attend, however, and it was cancelled.
We had resigned ourselves to having wasted a journey when we chanced to espy you. Could it be that there has been progress with the treatment? using Magitech terminals to formulate the solution. I would never have contemplated such an approach.
Used to be there was 4 types of damage: magic, blunt, slashing, and piercing. Bars are basically useless if you didn't have a dragoon for their piercing resistance debuff. God.
So this new magic, adapted from memory transference, would be used to purge the subject of their fanatical faith, while Angelo would be responsible for reanimating the ether of their soul. Yet I wonder at the practicalities. If one were to reanimate the soul first, it would only serve to exacerbate the tempering. Conversely, a stagnant soul would not respond to the effects of the magic.
Bars limit breaks are the healing ones? Really?
Would both need to be performed simultaneously?
Ah, nothing escapes Master Matoya's inquiring eye. As you say, both must be carried out simultaneously. And thus, I propose to imbue Angelo with the tempering treatment in much the same manner as I did the spirit vessels.
By doing so, we also spare Graha the trouble of casting spell after spell. It's really rather efficient.
Be that as it may, certain difficulties are unavoidable. The imbuing process will still require no small amount of ether.
2.0, there were only 4 limit breaks. It wasn't until Heaven's Ward that each class got their own limit break 3. Ah.
And as I can no longer draw upon the Crystal Tower's stores of energy, I will be compelled to rely on those of others.
Well, I, for one, would be glad to assist.
As would I. Since the resumption of our duties, it has been naught but stuffy meetings, and I have ample ether to spare.
Excellent. With your permission, then, let us begin.
Ruby? Alright.
Yes, this will do. And now, it's my turn. Tis done.
No small amount indeed.
Well, we seek to go where even the Allegans did not. It was never like to be easy. The rest is up to you, Alize. The treatment itself will take time and focus, so we will need a quiet room. I'm sure our hosts can spare one. I will go with her. It may be a while before we return, so I would ask for your patience and your faith.
We'll bring Gabu back. You see if we don't.
'Twould seem our part is played. Let us find a place to recuperate while we wait for news.
Alrighty then. Well, this seems as good a spot as I need to have a rest. haven't been in Limsa for a while.
For years, Eorzea has labored to find a solution to the primal problem, without success. Any hope that tempering could be reversed faded long ago. I myself had given it up as impossible. Given up on the tempered and the light corrupted alike. They were problems to be tolerated, or else eliminated, I believed. And to think otherwise was pure naivety. Childishness, even. But Alize refused to give up. She struggled and she struggled. And her efforts were rewarded with a way to bring back Halric. And now countless others may no longer be beyond salvation. However much we bicker, I have the greatest respect for my sister. Had I half her stubbornness, nay, her unwillingness to accept the status quo, I would be a far better person. A far better scion.
Oh, it's any consolation. She's in awe of your work.
She told you of my graduation thesis. How very embarrassing. Nonetheless, it is comforting and not a little surprising to hear that I'm still capable of impressing my sister. On the rare occasions I'm not annoying her, that is. Alize, are you all right?
The treatment. Did it work?
Oh, I'm so glad to see you all. Delighted, happy, glad.
He's back.
All this time, my mind was filled with thoughts of Great Father Titan. But I never forgot about Mother and Father. Always, they were in my heart. Constantly, ever, always. So I tried to focus on their faces. Theirs and yours. Alize's and everyone's. And I found that I could remember. One thing, then another, and another.
Your hopes reached Gabu. They helped him to hold on.
I'm so proud of you, Gabu.
I couldn't have done it without you, Alize. Can you help the others too? Cure them, heal them, help them?
Yes, we can. All of them.
Without wishing to dampen the mood, I feel compelled to add certain caveats regarding the viability of the treatment for general use. As you know, reversing the effects of tempering demands a profuse amount of ether. And while Alize was able to heal Gabu alone, I fear the same will not be true for those who exhibit more advanced symptoms. Moreover, the treatment's effects are limited to the soul. It offers no succor to those whose very flesh has been altered through prolonged exposure to a primal's influence. All of which is to say that we cannot save everyone.
Maybe we can't, or maybe we can. No one gave us a hope of saving Gabu, and yet here we are. We must find a way to treat as many as possible.
Then the next logical step would be to produce a veritable army of Porkses, would it not? Granted, it seemed a simple enough process in the first, but I suspect it will be different here in the source. Not that I am any authority, of course.
Yet there is an authority on familiars to whom we may grudgingly turn. She's stubborn, haughty, eccentric, irascible, laconic, annoying. And her name is Master Matoya, the real one.
Oh.
I have to go now, Gabu. But the people here will look after you, all right? And I promise to come and visit you again soon.
All right. Thank you, Alize. Thank you.
Oh wow, look at that. Oh. She will be at pains to remind me I have not paid Master Matoya a visit since returning from the first. But this seems as good a time as any. Come, let us make for her cave. Hello, Yashtala. I take it you are ready to bear witness to the joyous reunion of master and pupil? Farewell. Now.
Nary a word from you all this time, then you bring every man and his pirogo with you. Did no one teach you any manners, girl?
They were too busy teaching me etherology, Master. Jesting aside, I wanted to be the one to express our gratitude. I am told you spared no effort to sustain our bodies while we were away. And for that, we owe you our lives. Thank you.
You were gone so long. I was starting to think you'd set your heart on staying.
It wasn't easy to leave, as it happens. Seldom does one have the opportunity to study other worlds, and I would not have minded extending my stay by a handful of years.
Ever the scholar. Y'shtola dedicated herself to studying ancient civilizations of the first, befriending a tribe known as the Knights Blessed in the process. There she took on the name of Matoya and won the respect of all the children of the forest.
What?
I merely adopted an alias in accordance with the custom of my hosts. Yours just happened to be the first name that came to mind.
But I'll just spill the beans.
You mean to tell me you went gallivanting about using my name and only bother to visit when you need a favor? And don't pretend you don't. I taught you long enough.
Indeed.
Oh, the fuck out.
And devoted pupil that I am, I could not fail to recall my master's sage advice. When the answer eludes you, look to the wisdom of your elders.
You there. Were you going to introduce yourself?
How remiss of me. Grahatia is my name, and I'm proud to call myself a scion.
At this point, wouldn't Graha technically be older? Well, not his body, but his soul. Well, I guess not technically, if it was just implanting his memories and his soul.
I too wish to offer my gratitude for your invaluable aid in sustaining the Archon's bodies, as well as my apologies. It was my inexpert summoning spell which endangered their lives in the first place.
Ah, yes. The one bent on digging up the mysteries of Alag. Old Galaf used to speak of you. And Kryles told me all about your recent exploits. Do you have a bad back or something? At ease, boy. Whatever mess you've made, I'm not in the habit of dwelling on the failings of the younger generation.
You are too kind. I've also heard much and more about you, Master Matoya. 'Tis an honor to finally make your acquaintance.
Well, that's more than enough pleasantries for anyone. Tell me what you want. I haven't got all day.
Orxy.
So that's the way of it. It should be a simple enough matter to make the familiar. The magic, on the other hand.
Ah, that you may leave to me. Being the only one possessed of royal blood, I alone can imbue the subject with the necessary magic.
So I just need to create porxies with the power to stir the soul. Just, I say. Though we're talking about a veritable herd of the little buggers, we'd collapse before we reached double figures. But if I could get a familiar to create the familiars, a mother porxie, as it were. Seems I haven't seen the last of that moldy old hole after all.
A moldy old hole. I don't know if I want to know. Alright, off to my old workshop then. Everything required to make your familiar is there. That may be, but no one has set foot in there since the Exodus. I dread to imagine what has become of it. Well, there's sure to be a handful of feral familiars and mayhap a monster or two, but nothing to trouble the likes of you. You can consider cleaning up the place payment for my help. Fine, we'll do it. Good girl. Now, if there are no other objections, I suggest you run along to the maker's quarters. I'll send one of my pirogos ahead to let you into the workshop. You'd only tell him who you are. One can't be too careful after all. Off we go. Pirago the Unwashed. Greetings, Ribbit. Welcome to my good mistress's relict. Pirago is my name, and I am honored to be your guide. Within you will find a space dedicated to the making of familiars, along with a cavern wherein the requisite ingredients may be had. I must warn you, however, that the place has not played host to a single soul, much less a broom, in over 15 years, and I regret, be in some disarray. But rest assured, my brothers and I shall see to it that you do not lose your way. Now then, Ribbit, I want to say the word, and I will show you in. Dungeon? Matoya's Relict. Dungeon is fun. I might even able to do it. Watch me be too low of eye level.